Hello everybody, this is Conquering History Games, and welcome back to part 2 of my Nimbusia campaign here in Hearts of Iron 4, Equestria at War. It's time to determine what to grow. The mountainous terrain of Nimbusia is ill-suited to farm grain and other foods. Olives and wine would be better candidates, but that would make Nimbusia reliant on foreign trade. This small question has erupted into a matter of principle about the direction of the country, with reformists favoring wine, traditionalists being pro-olive, and purists insisting on grain. Ooh, this is a fun one. Histories of the Great Eastern War. A series of epics have recently been published by the philosopher and historian Toloti Kataigida. They are one part historical text and the other part folklore, weaved together to tell the story of Nimbusia from its inception to the current day. In Volume 6, there is an in-depth section dedicated to the battle Ravani in 778. At the time, nearly the entirety of Eastern Griffonia lay subjugated under the tyranny of the Griffin Empire, with only Nimbusia remaining free. So basically, all this was owned by that. The Griffin Emperor Grover II attempted an expedition into the Nimbusian mountains from the south, leading an army that numbered in the hundreds of thousands. Initially, they experienced much success, driving the meager forces of Nimbusia back through Platrotria and Ionea. However, at Raveni, the cunning of the newly appointed Strategos, Evgenki Armonia, shined through. She lured the enemy's armies into assaulting a vanguard formation just south of the city, while she consolidated every able-bodied citizen on the Isles to the east. Then, as the battle wore on the point of exhaustion, she swiftly deployed her fresh formations south of the Griffin army. Before the armies of Grover II knew what had befallen them, they were stuck between two pony armies. Even though they were still more numerous and better equipped, their organization was shattered and forces swiftly destroyed. The damage caused by the Nimbusian expedition was so severe that within the next 20 years, the Griffin Empire's influence in eastern Griffonia was completely removed, as their subjects, both pony and non-pony, revolted and threw off the shackles of Griffinheim's tyranny. While the stories in Tholoti's histories have been subjected to critique in terms of authenticity, his tales have managed to remind the ponies of Nimbusia of the importance of the citizen class and how their nation stood alone against the tyranny of griffins. Ha! An invading army of nearly 400,000 in 778. How ridiculous. Obviously, that's a reference to the histories by Herodotus, who is often affectionately called the father of all lies. But it's really great. I remember, I think I read the histories. I picked up a copy of it, I want to say my senior year of high school, and I read a lot of it on a road trip when I wasn't driving. And there's some there's a lot of stuff in there that's obviously not true. Like a lot of the scientific stuff he talks about, but it's sure an entertaining book. The Strategos refrains from excess. Strategos Peligis received some foreign dignitaries tonight, and of course the Xenoi were shown the full extent of Nimbusian hospitality. Thusly, a feast was thrown in honor of their arrival. With the food debate raging, however, many citizens had their eyes on the esteemed Strategos, wondering whether he would use his food choice to show favoritism to one of the factions in the B. As the night continued, the Strategos' guests noticed that he drank almost no wine, nor did he eat much of the delicacies served to him. While the guests returned to their homeland praising Nimbusian temperance, many citizens interpreted this as the Strategos advising the ecclesia to side with the purists. Cheers to our Strategos! Nice, we got some political power. So it's my understanding that that event is actually kind of random, and it doesn't have anything to do with what you've chosen before. He might drink a lot of wine, like he gets drunk and he drinks a lot of wine, or he might enjoy some olives, or he can kind of be, more moderate like he was here, kind of take it easy. And it doesn't actually seem to indicate anything he personally feels. It's more that people are interpreting it a certain way. Alright. Do I want to support the pure? I really don't see any reason to support the purist cause. Might save up and improve the workers' conditions, though. Planting the seeds. The debate is over. The deliberations and recommendations of the B have been sent to the ecclesia, the citizens' assembly. No matter the strength of the arguments, the mood of the crowd is fickle, and the vote can still go either way. Both the faction leaders and the farmers of Nimbusia nervously await the outcome of the vote. The livelihood of the farmers of Nimbusia was at stake, but more importantly, the importance of trade for the emerging economy. It's going to be grain, right? Yep, grow grain, a little bit more population for half a year, costing me political power again. But that puts me at 50%. I've almost got the majority. Why can't I take these? Has completed focus censorship of foreign works. Has completed... Okay, so it goes left to right. Censorship of foreign works. So much for that library, right? After yet another academy student was caught citing the works of Karl Marx on campus, the traditionalists have had enough of foreign literature. They are a threat to the stability of Nimbusia and should be controlled by a censor. The reformists see this as a direct threat to their freedom and have rallied against the measure. Let me just double check. Am I still not able to take anything else? Okay, just being sure. Because I'm still a pre-industrial society and I still have only a small science base, both of which suck. But I'm getting almost a whole political PowerPoint a day now. Riverlands Hoofball Cup. Who's going to win this? What a spectacle. Yeah, the River Republic, I think, won. We could support the purist cause. Is there any reason to do that? Like, popularity is always good, I guess. Costs me stability, but my ruling party popularity will go up. Well, I don't think I'm going to get any more events that'll increase it. Right, Oracle of Pranstrus warns of stagnation. In the face of our current political strife, many have turned to the oracles of old to try and find answers to our problems. One of the most respected oracles is that of Pranstrus, who garners the attention of some of Nimbusia's most important politicians, merchants, philosophers, and strategos. Where is that, anyway? Pranstrus. Okay, it's over here. It's like kind of in this valley between the mountains. When asked for her input on the current political crisis, she responded with, "The water inside a river changes every moment, and those who stubbornly refuse the change of the world will find they are unprepared for the future." Yikes. This is a starkingly clear message of criticism from a mayor who has a reputation for answering in riddles and enigmas. How can the traditionalists stand against the waters of change? Oh, okay, I thought that was going to hurt me because I'm a purist. But then again, I guess if we go fascist, it's still changing the status quo. Still, it definitely seems like I would have had a much easier time of it overall if I'd just gone reformist. Because, geez, I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure the reformists also get political power every time you select them, as well as increasing the popularity. So I've certainly not made it easy for myself. Oh, civil war has begun between Olenia and King Johann over here with the deer. But let's make our choice on the foreign works. The reformists and the traditionalists have picked a fight over a growing concern about foreign influence in Nimbusia. Works from far-off places like Equestria and Stalingrad are being consumed by the youth, especially students. While the reformists consider this natural and think that foreign ideas could be adapted into Nimbusian culture, the traditionalists have rallied to defend Nimbusia's own culture. With only limited political resources at their disposal, both parties can still choose to influence the ecclesia and the bee with bribes, flatteries, and smearing campaigns for a price. So wait, this is just between the traditionalists and the reformists? Well, we're going to do a campaign for public decency. You know, I was talking in the last episode a little briefly about Plato's Republic. There's parts where Socrates, in quotation marks, he's calling for, like, we're not going to use Homer. We're not going to read some of these so-called famous Greek writers because we don't like their ideas. Which is like if you said in modern Anglo culture or something, it's like, we're not going to read Shakespeare anymore. We're going to ban him. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy, I tell you. Anyway, but it's all in the name of the public, right? Metakiros speaks. The leader of the reformist faction, the wealthy unicorn merchant known as Metakiros, was about to speak to the ecclesia. The theater at Nimbusia was packed with the citizens who were going to vote on the issue at hand. An entire evening was set aside for the task of censorship. The unicorn took a deep breath, steeling himself for the task ahead. The political situation was slowly reaching a boiling point, and Metakiros didn't even cross the street alone at night anymore, afraid of fanatical opponents. Soon all of that would be over, and Nimbusia would be safe and free again. The unicorn raised his voice. Citizens, Nimbusians, we have been brought together to face a grave danger. This foe is not one we can fight with spears or even guns, nay! But yet we have to muster all our courage to stand against it. The danger of which I speak is tyranny disguised behind a seemingly noble cause. The very mention of tyranny already riled up the crowd, as Metacaros expected. Freedom! a word which under the traditionalists has lost all meaning. Citizens, Nimbusians, I do not hold you for fools. I do not seek to control your spirit. When you vote on this matter, do not consider your political faction. Consider if Nimbusia stands for freedom or for tyranny. Loud cheering and applause broke out from the theater, and Medikeros tried to gauge whether his speech convinced enough ponies. It was going to be close. Pegaleos speaks next. Alright, well, let's set up the next thing while we wait. Alright. Pegalaos responds. Pegalaos trotted towards the stage, giving a quick nod to Medikeros, who took his seat among the citizens' assembly. The reformists have been stirring up trouble for some time now. They were idealists and did not fully understand the pillars that stabilize Nimbusian society. With so many dangerous ideas floating around, there was no telling what godless ideology could grip the minds of the ponies. The older stallion reached the stage. He was oh so tired of all this political maneuvering, but it was the only way to guide the Nimbusians back to the right path. Honorable citizens, let me first of all thank the respected Medikeros for his words. He is right. This measure does inhibit the freedom of us all. However, for virtuous citizens such as yourself, this measure will not even be felt. For only those of us who stray away from our sacred traditions, however, will be affected. And even they, in the end, when they see that the exclusion of foreign works has cleared their troubled minds, will be thankful. Pegaleos let that sink in, using the time to gather air. The freedom the reformists are preaching about is not the freedom to choose between virtuous alternatives. The freedom they are seeking is the freedom to throw Nimbusia into chaos. Stay true to our gods, to the bonds we share, and we shall prevail over our internal doubts. Pegalaos sighed deeply as part of the crowd cheered him on. Would the citizens stay true, or had this political infighting eroded all trusts in the laws and traditions of old? It's up to the ecclesia now. The ecclesia decides, like in the old days, after hearing the speeches of both sides and debating amongst each other. The ecclesia of Nimbusia cast their vote by a show of hooves. Medikeros and his hopeful reformers, and Pegaleos and his older brand of traditionalists both look on, for this issue was a test of the clout they held among the citizenry. The ecclesia votes to censor foreign works. Get 6% more popular for the non-aligned, and we get the national spirit foreign works censored, more ideological drift defense, and subversive activities are less powerful. So really that didn't do anything for me. Actually, it took away some of my popularity because they went over to the traditionalists as opposed to the purists, which I'm trying to be. Now, as for this personal bodyguard, with tensions rising, some ponies are concerned for the safety of the Strategos. The purists seek to establish a bodyguard, of strong soldiers directly under the command of the general. However, the traditionalists warn that this is a step towards tyranny, as soldiers should only be used with democratic oversight. Also, a war is going on in the west, going after Virgilia. Come on, T-Feather. All you gotta do is give them a little bit of money, and this doesn't happen. New Daring Do book. What is going on in the rest of the world? Crofonian Empire has not chosen what they're doing yet. How about this three-way civil war? Looks like Count Dusk Talon is about to go down. And really, the Socialist Republic looks pretty strong at the moment. Could still be anybody's game. And wow, the Griffin Liberation, this civil war is still not over. You know, if it's taken this long, Brodfeld might win, which is not unprecedented. I have seen it happen. Also, the United Communes down here fighting the Kingdom of Wing Party, and we're done with getting the basic infantry equipment, so we have a lot more things open to us once more. Let's go ahead and get infantry equipment 1 though, and we're also gonna pick up the mage. Yeah, let's get the mage company. Can't go wrong there usually. On the other hand, we're gonna switch this over to some more industry stuff in a second. All right, bodyguard for the Strategos. The purists and the traditionalists have come to political blows concerning a purist proposal to give the Strategos a bodyguard. The purists make sound arguments, seeing as the political situation is heated up in the country. But the traditionalists are afraid of a private unit for the Strategos as a first step towards a strong military despot taking over. With only limited political resources at their disposal, both parties can still choose to influence the ecclesia and the bee with bribes, flatteries, and smearing campaigns for a price. This is a cool little piece of art. Stop the measure, trust the people, or support the proposal. Well, we are going to support the proposal, even though it costs us political power. What the heck? I thought it said 20. Was it 70? Shoot. All right. Pegaleos cautions the ecclesia. More than a month has passed since Pegaleos last spoke in the outdoor theater, which was the meeting ground for the ecclesia. Since then, the political deadlock has only worsened. Supporters from each of the factions got into arguments and sometimes even brawls. The peaceful polity he so desired was further away than ever before. No, the Pegasus whispers to himself. He should not be a defeatist. Clearly, the political unrest was headed towards a climax. Perhaps victory today, against the purists, could steer the people away from radical change. The old stallion stopped listening to the doubts in his mind and cleared his throat. Honorable citizens, we meet again, this time to discuss a plan brought forward by the ponies known as the Purists. They have expressed concern for the safety of the Strategos and seek to install their cronies as bodyguards so that he will be safe from any pony they deem unsuitable. I am concerned as well, but for something dearer to me than even our beloved Strategos' life. It is our dear democracy, which has just received a death threat. Shouts erupt from the theater and insults get thrown at Pegalaus from the... Pegalia, I must have pronounced his name like 5 different ways, from the ranks of the Purists. There is no question here, honorable citizens. Granting any pony their private army is the death of democracy and the first step on the road to tyranny. Let us put a stop to the Purist machinations and have our glorious army under the command of the citizens. Pegalaus stepped back and trotted to his seat. On his way, he passed the young Andrea, the Purist leader, who seemed unimpressed. Pegalaus felt in his heart she was obsessed with power. So she's a young general, right? Yeah, there she is. She's a career officer, reckless, a media personality, and a promising general. That's a very good trait. It's an excellent trait. Right, Andrea's speech. Andrea took the stage, her eyes glowing with fiery determination. As the people had come to expect of the Pegasus officer, she had donned a full military uniform. Her voice was commanding, and in a way it seemed like she was instructing the ecclesia instead of speaking to it. Can I do a woman's voice? Young woman's voice at that. I'm going to try. Citizens, I have heard the protests of the aging stallion Pegalaus. I have found these not only ungrounded but also offensive. Pegalaus has the gall to call me a tyrant, while I only seek the best for the citizens of Nimbusia. Seeking merely to protect the life of an honorable member of the military is not tyranny. No, those who would risk his life on the basis of rumor and lies are the ones who deserve your righteous anger, citizens. Andrea's challenging words were riling up both her supporters and opponents, which made the officer smirk. She was thoroughly enjoying this. So, noble citizens, it is your duty to save the Strategos' life from those who plan the demise of our military. We are ready to serve the general. We but require your command. The end of Andrea's speech inflamed debate on the rows of seats in the theater. This would be another close call. The ecclesia seems rowdy. Hold on a sec. Education. The citizens' choice. Debate between the citizens lasted longer than usual, and the night was well and truly underway when the voting would commence. As tradition, a raise of hooves would determine the outcome. Pegalaus watched on, concerned about what may happen, while Andrea seemed sure of her victory already. The ecclesia rejects the bodyguard. We now have national spirit extra focus on the agogi, which grants less training time and more political power gain. Well, I guess that's nice, but I'm pretty sure the fascist thing I would have picked up would have been better. Or maybe it wouldn't. It's tough to say sometimes. That's a problem. That's a problem. Let's stop making muskets. How about that? Can we do that, please? Can we stop making muskets, please? Whoa, a new play here. Pick up the dispersed industry. Okay, what is this? Oh, wait, hold on a sec. Also, before I forget, let's take the mage company here and switch this over to construction. Good. Now, what the heck is this? Nekrotita's play. Nekrotita's play. She is an earth pony whose name is uttered with both praise and disdain, depending on which social circles you populate in Nimbusia. Oh, it's a he, sorry. He is known for creating comedies which have been called hilarious, crude, depraved, outrageous, inspired, and horrible by all manner of fans and critiques. His most recent play, A Day for Sisyphos, might be his most ambitious project yet. The play tells the story of purist philosopher Sisyphos, who is so engrossed with Pegasus purity that he refuses to touch his hooves upon the ground. However, due to this aerial life, he begins to miss important events. These start innocently enough as Sisyphos misses social parties, speeches, and political happenings. However, things begin to rapidly ramp up as Sisyphos is called to debate Ponetagaros. However, the debate is to happen upon the ground, so Sisyphos settles for yelling his rebuttals from his cloud. with Pontagaros taking each of these muffled complaints and altering them into either points in favor of his argument or mocking various attributes of his opponent. Things really start to heat up in the last act, however, when Censorship's wife begins to have an affair on the ground with a unicorn merchant. She confides in her lover, admitting that this isn't her first time partaking in an affair, and that Censorship had once been cuckolded by a helot, with the play openly questioning the legitimacy of Censorship's heirs. Critics have once again called this play both a masterpiece and the most repulsive thing to come from Nekrikotita's quill. This disgusting project must be stopped, and it's hurting the fascists. Yeah, I'm sure the purists are gonna have a pretty big problem with a helot banging some higher upper class guy's wife. I think this guy might end up on a little bit of a kill list. We'll install tyrants, 30 of them, and they'll have a list, and we'll know what to do with the people on the list. So, what is this? March of the Hoplites. An ancient. I can't believe we're still in this first year. March of the Hoplites. In ancient times, hoplites would frequently parade through the cities of Nimbusia, proudly displaying their rigid discipline, sparking bronze armor, and impressive iron-tipped doris. To this day, this tradition has continued, and while the armor and weaponry have evolved from our primitive past, the discipline our armies display cannot be matched. Thousands upon thousands of disciplined hoplite musketeers march through Nimbusia today, their hooves moving perfectly in sync with their brothers and sisters. Officers barked orders, and postures were kept stiff, as not a single mistake was allowed to permeate through the ranks. Along the parade route, citizens, periokoi, and even helots watched in awe as the formations slowly moved through the streets. They were headed towards an inner-city plaza with great determination. The ponies, intrigued enough to follow, found that the formations stopped there, standing perfectly still at attention. A crowd began to form on the edges, and a whispered murmur of anticipation oozed through the audience. A few minutes later, a young officer took the stage, adorned in the bronze hoplite armor of old. It was none other than Andrea of the purest fashion. She delivered a speech to her troops, praising them for their discipline and professionalism. Her attention then turned to the crowd, as she made them the focus of her dialogue. She called upon the citizens who had formerly served to remember their service to the army, and use their voices to pressure their elders into appointing pro-purist members to the bee. Only then could the superiority and glory of the old Nimbusian hoplites be truly realized. The army needs more officers like Andrea. Cool, so that gave us some popularity. And are we gonna... Geez, I really think it might be better if I hang on and improve the workers' conditions so I can get some more stability. But maybe this is the key moment. This is when I need to be increasing my popularity, because I'm back under 50%. Hell with it, let's do it. Oh, am I only allowed to do it once? Okay. How bad is the infantry equipment deficit? 213 days. Damn. Wait, did we not have a pop-up for that? Well, let's just read what this said. With the pace of scientific process increasing, the reformists are concerned we are missing out on a vital pool of talent. Oh. Namely, non-citizens. Purists have responded to... oh, okay. So it's like basically who's allowed in the colleges. The purists only want the Pegasus. Okay. Pontigoras is passed. Pontigoras' speeches towards the reformation of the bee and the opening up of the Nimbusian political system have made him a controversial figure within traditionalist social circles. However, the discovery of some of his earlier work has recently made him the target of criticism by some of his own Harmony-aligned allies. In this recently discovered work, he laid out the importance of the Nimbusian caste system and how its social hierarchy is necessary in order to justify the very existence of the nation. He also discussed the dilution of what he called the pure Pegasus lines by blood from outside species, and how the continued crossbreeding of the pony races would one day lead to the demise of Nimbusia. After the discovery of this work, Pontigoras vehemently denied holding these values, stating that they were the works of a younger and less educated stallion. He then proceeded to attack his Harmony-aligned critics, claiming that they possessed the same narrow-mindedness of their traditionalist and purist opponents. Yes, let them tear each other to pieces. Oh boy, yeah, that might be the death knell for the reformists, because he's the one who keeps giving all the speeches that people like. Education for periokoi. The purists and reformists, already strong adversaries, find themselves opposed on the issue of education. Metakiros, the reformist leader, has championed a plan to get the Periokoi, these are the non-citizen people, the same education as citizens to improve the research potential of the nation. The purists see this as an attempt to dilute the rights of citizens as the ruling class and have proposed an alternative to expand the existing academy. With only limited political resources at their disposal, both parties can still choose to influence the ecclesia and the bull with bribes, flatteries, and smearing campaigns for a price. Oh, is it just all bad? Okay, if I leave it to the gods or citizens... Okay, citizens first. Keeping character, damn it. Andrea attacks the education plan. Her heart was pounding in her chest, almost as if it was trying to burst out. Nimbusia had been heating up ever since the last debate of the ecclesia, and she felt her victory was near. She had but to bash the education plan of the reformists and their unicorn leader Metakiros. The very idea of any pony letting themselves be led by a unicorn was making her disgusted. When she took over, there would indeed be much work to do. Okay, so it's in the open now. And by in the open, I mean us, the viewers, know what's happening now. She is definitely going to coup the place. Or, I guess, try to peacefully coup it. Like, maybe she's going to try to become queen by acclamation or something. Friends, citizens, we've gathered here tonight for a deliberation on the matter of education. Or at least, that's what you've been led to believe. For the reformists seek to give their lackeys citizenship so they can control us all. Their weak, despicable Periokoi allies. Those bodies who are obsessed with coins and would rather sell their mothers than to fight a battle. Andrea felt she was letting herself go. Her rage flowed uncontrollably out of her mouth into the ears of the crowd. Instead, I seek to strengthen the knowledge of our children. The citizens of Nimbusia are the pride of the gods, and our proposal will ensure that they gain the best possible education. Vote for Nimbusia, or perish from the reformist weakness. Andrea took a deep breath. The speech, which almost evolved into her shouting. The ecclesia was riled up and chanting phrases at her. Had she won already? Metakaros takes the stand. Metakaros retorts. Metakaros made his way to the stand, worry overtaking him. It seemed that his efforts had made the citizens more distrustful of Periokoi, more hateful towards foreigners, and more militant. Or were these just the feelings that were already manifesting themselves against him? He had to stop the purists. If they won this debate, who knows what else they can get away with? I don't remember what voice I did for this guy. I think I do. Honorable citizens, every pony, thank you all for coming. I will cut to the chase. This meeting is about way more than a law about education. It is about determining who gets to participate and who gets excluded. I plan to give the children of those who labor hard for Nimbusia and the bureaucracy as teachers or as merchants the same rights as the children of soldiers. Honorable Nimbusians, is that not justice? Metakaros let the question linger in the air for a few seconds before continuing. How much our dear Andrea may wish it. A society cannot persist on soldiers alone. Indeed, it is those that sacrifice their chance at battlefield glory for the good of society who deserve your admiration, honorable citizens. Be wary of letting anger over foreigners or a misplaced sense of superiority guide your gaze away from the truth. Support our wonderful class of Periokoi and grant them education. Metakaros took a step back. The crowd had been silenced for the most part. Did he manage to turn the tide? May the ecclesia be blessed with wisdom. They announced their decision. It seems most citizens had already made up their mind, as the voting could start soon after Metakiros was done speaking, as tradition, a raise of hooves would determine the outcome. Damn it! The ecclesia grants education to the Periokoi, 2,000 pony power and 8% popularity to them. Damn. Is that going to put them in the lead over us? No. Okay. But they're now the second most powerful party. Grr. Let's see if we can get through the... Yes, I thought that we were going to get down to these bottom three, but there's so much to read. It's great, though. It's really great. What is this? The Kavi Kaimune. Griffonian People's Front. What? Okay, so these two are now both fighting. The Commune and the Griffin Liberation Army are fighting these two here. Things are getting really interesting. We could rapidly find ourselves surrounded by communists and socialists between the Commune, the Griffin Liberation Army, and the Socialist Republic of Longsword. Also, the United Kingdom communes of Wingbardy, who are still having a little bit of trouble down there, it seems. Okay, Longsword Government. So the fascists are gone. It's coming down definitely between Silver Talon and Starry Knights, Socialist Republic. Lot of civil wars happening out there. All right, the curious case of Star Chaser. You know what? I think this episode has gone on quite long enough, but this is kind of a fun story. I guess you can pause it and read it if you want, but in the next episode, I'll actually read it out. It's about a griffin who comes to the pony world, but he thinks he's a pony. Anyway, so thanks for joining me. I'm Conquering History Games. I know, there's lots and lots of reading, but I don't think we are not going to be forming the Federation, so I think before you know it, we're going to have plenty of wars to fight. And hey, I'm enjoying, like I said, I'm enjoying the lore. You know, it's great. It's great world building. So subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.